Having been in Vietnam, then Malaysia, completely different countries, but of course, Indian origin. But away from India for more than, I think, 12 years? 15 years. 15 years. When you are offered to come to head the Schindler operations in India, what was going on in your mind? And what are the top 3 things which kind of helped you to look in favor of India?
So the first thing I came to mind was fear. Fear of size. Because Malaysia and Vietnam is like a branch in India, if you think about it, the size and the volume of the business and stuff. So firstly, I was like, wow, this is a huge organization. Will I be able to do this? Though the organization was offering me the job, but I didn't want to go and fail, because it becomes a blot in my kind of.
And those two were turnaround, while this was
Correct.
already
that is the
there.
Second part,
Correct.
In fact, even my first role was a turnaround. Australia also was a turnaround.
Oh, okay.
Queensland was a turnaround. Vietnam was a turnaround. Malaysia was a turnaround.
So you're not typecast.
Correct.
Yeah.
Then I thought, turnaround seems very, and turnarounds are actually easier because there's only one way to go. Which is up.
Correct.
You can't go even worse than where it is.
Correct.
But here it is a successful organization, award-winning organization, gold medal winner in 2013.
2013, yeah.
Right? So I was thinking, what can I do different when I go there? And as you said, I never worked in India, so Indian working style wasn't something that I was aware of. Though you're by heart you're an Indian. That was the first thing. But the 3 considerations to take up the opportunity was. First thing was the fact that I can take care of the 3 entities, factory, R&D and operations. It was a unique opportunity. In no other country in Schindler, apart from China, could offer that.
Correct.
So that was the first thing in my mind. The second thing in my mind was, I think if I'm able to work in a market like India, you are ready for bigger leagues in the future.
Okay,
right?
absolutely.
And also, we often say if you run India, you can run anything, because it's a very tough like a tough environment with the safety, with the code of conduct and all the other things, right? People. Third part was family. I wanted my kids to get exposure of the Indian culture, upbringing, food. My parents were here, so I wanted to be a bit closer to them as well. All this is what helped me. But also I have to say, maybe it's not a 4th point, but the conversation that you and me had about India. I still remember, in Thailand when we met in the hotel, and I was explaining to you about the Malaysian management team, and you said you were kind of surprised. Like, this is how even things can happen, because you said this is not how it is in India. In Schindler India, I would say. And that was a surprise to me, to be honest, because outside India, Indians are known to be very political. Right? We play a lot of politics and games, pulling each other down. So that fear was there in my mind as well. That maybe, people will set me up, and there was a bit of bad press that India generally has outside India. But when you said this, I thought, doesn't seem like a problem, so maybe I should go and give it my best shot.
Good, I think quite a logical way you went about taking the decision. Having come to India, and you rightly mentioned it was quite big. It had everything under the sun. Elevator and escalator company had 2 factories. It had R&D. It had quite a few training centers, and that point of time when you came in, around more than 14 branches. So challenging, right? Really. So how did you go about it after you took over the reins here?
So firstly I have to thank you for that, because we had. If you remember, we had arranged a very nice transition. The first year was spent only on the operations without getting clouded into the factories and stuff. Also, at that point of time, India was just coming out of the GST, demonetization, RERA issues as well. So it was kind of a bit of a baptism by fire, whilst I had to come and settle down, and you were there as a shadow to make sure. But at the same time, we have to also deliver results. But the fact that I had a person to fall back, which was you, I think that was very comforting, because I knew that if I fall, you will catch, and you did that many times in your typical style of not only did you catch me, but also then you taught me, these things you will have to be, careful about. this is how the Indian things works. And we spent a lot of time talking about the way business works in India, how customers are so important and how they need to be actively spoken to by the KG head, and how the people need a lot of focus in terms of driving the results and things like that. So, and the whole management team, I think, was absolutely fantastic. I still feel that on the 4 countries, including Australia, and I repeatedly say this many times to many people, this place has the best management team. And this was a team that you had created. I have zero credits to take, in fact. I didn't have to change anybody. First time in my career, I had to change nobody. All the changes we did later is more of a promotion and people moving.
That is a different story altogether. Yeah.
Correct. But that was a good thing that we were able to, because we had a strong succession. We were able to do that. So
every management team member had a succession. That was
again very unique. In other countries we didn't have that. Here we had the luxury of promoting people because we had a second line and ready as well. So that is what I would say helped me in settling down really well, and how very methodical and practical you had put the orientation for me, and at right times right things were introduced without rushing. Even, for example, the customers, we did it after 6 months. Because the first 6 months, it was all about taking care of the people and
knowing
numbers.
The people.
And then later, we started doing the customer visits more towards the end of the first year. And then the R&D, factory, acclimatization and things.
Yeah, we had a luxury of time also,
Correct.
so it could be done.
Correct. So I think that is very unique. You don't usually get this time. Usually you're thrown into the deep fire and you got to just sink or swim. So here I think that definitely helped. And without a doubt, the free hand you gave me once, so I think you were able to gauge when to loosen the hand slowly, and when you realized that I was able to run separately alone, you were happy to let the hand go, and that I think shows caliber of a very mature leader, because and we have read about this many times in many books and even TV shows, how people have anxiety of moving out, but I think you handled it the best that I have seen. And even when there was difficult moments, we have been able to sit and speak about it and resolve it, and you initiated those conversations as well. It was not like I had to come and complain to anybody about it. You just asked me many times, if there's issues, Ash, how is it going, do we have to change things? So I think that is really, in my view, the quality of a true leader.
Yeah, actually it was, as we discussed, it was a very well planned transition, because everything was going to happen. It was well planned, and obviously even I had my own plans to happen. So that helped quite a lot, because I had no sense of insecurity which normally people have going out of the organization, because I had my own plans to do that.
People don't have.
Yeah, they don't have.
They put all the eggs in one basket and then they stress out when you have to move.
Correct. So last question, Ashok. Now that you're in the mainstream, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I would say, there was a pandemic, global pandemic. I think probably you must have learned a lot of things. So, what are the main few things you can share with me you derived out of this, being in India for the last two plus years now? Yeah, 2+ years now. Personally, obviously your family being in outside India, though they were originally Indians, it's not easy coming back to India, right? Personally and professionally, what are the few things you think were the learnings or the evolution Ashok Ramachandran and his family went through?
Sure. I mean, if I have to talk about the family settling pre-COVID and post-COVID, I'm glad the pandemic happened 2 years after we came, because if it happened the same time, we would have been, I think my wife would have divorced me. But thankfully, the first 6 months, it was very difficult for the family, new environment, and all small things, where do you go and buy the groceries, and, women have their favorites,
Favorites, correct.
So it was difficult for her to get that adjustment, but once we got that, it really then was a breeze. And then I have to again thank you for helping on the personal side as well. You got the admission for my son as well in one of the best schools in Mumbai. That helped. Again, the kind of support staff I had, whether it was my driver, whether it was my secretary, whether it was the helper at home, everybody kind of fell into at the right place. And the support through the HR teams, on my personal stuff. I still remember amazing support from Shubha and her staff when I was moving houses. And even when I landed in Mumbai, I came with 50 boxes. And the Schindler India technicians team in Mumbai airport were actually near the gate inside, outside the airport aircraft door to help, because I landed at 1 o'clock in the night.
Okay.
And 2 kids were sleeping, on our shoulders. One with my wife and one with me. And we had hand luggages. Then we had 40 boxes of check-in bags coming, because we had to live in a temporary accommodation for 2 months and all that. And the whole team was there to help me get the stuff, put me in my apartment. Right from there, so that was the big way of how I settled before COVID. Post-COVID, nobody expected, as you know, we didn't even, there was no warning. We just suddenly lockdown happened. But if I have to say, the key learnings for me is professionally, less is more. Like, I think we have learned to live with less. We have learned the frugal mentality.
Many discoveries have happened.
Many discoveries. I'm sure you've seen that as well. We have realized that without traveling, without spending money, we can run the business.
Absolutely.
Which would have been, nobody would have believed you, right? In fact, just yesterday, Uday, you'd be very pleased to hear, now we have digitized, we have a digital uptake of 61% in Schindler University.
Oh.
From 20%.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever you had put in place, if you had not put in place, imagine we would have been in trouble. Because if the courses were not in digital space, we would have been in big trouble. And the uptake happened very instantly then, because we were ready. Even work from home, if you remember, we implemented it 1 year ago.
Correct.
So when pandemic happened, we were ready with the work from home policy. Yeah. So that is what we realized, that less is more, frugality helps, and you realize you don't need a lot of things. Like Mumbai office is moved to head office now, we were able to close down.
Saving of so much cost.
Saving a lot of savings, incredible amount of savings. The second thing I learned is being in touch with the people at all levels to help their anxiety and stress levels. So one of the best things that I learned was constant communication. So every month from March end, we had the first town hall 30th of March. 23rd of March the lockdown happened. Every month we were communicating in the town halls. What is happening? What are we going to do? We gave pre-warnings to people about tough actions coming. So there was never a surprise. So I learned that it's important to keep people informed and tell them the truth. Even recently we heard, people who we had interviewed from competition saying they never knew what was happening. Whereas in Schindler, people knew what was happening. There's of course a downside to it because there is too much information being shared as well. But the upside is people trust. And the third thing is customer connect, which I think is probably the most important thing that happened. We were able to connect with 50,000 customers in this 4 months because we proactively pushed all our employees to talk to customers. And that is also showing in the results where we are still leading this year in terms of numbers as well. So that was professionally. Personally, I think my fitness is what I'm very proud of. I learned that you don't have to go to gym.
Absolutely.
You can do it from home. You don't have to eat outside. You can eat from home and you can,
In fact, that is one of the best happened on most of the people. Diet.
Yeah.
The diet or somewhere the outside food always makes you put on weight.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So that really helped, and spending time with the kids, with the family, playing with them. I'm enjoying having lunch with my family more often now.
So your quality of life has become much better, well balanced.
Correct. So I would say the pandemic is definitely a blessing in disguise. Of course, the sad part is people getting infected and dying. But apart from that, if you look at the bright side, again, I said before, like MBA project, I look at it as an MBA. This is real MBA in action.
Absolutely.
I don't think even Harvard and Stanford can give you this experience.
Good. I think a lot of positive things are coming out of it. And now that more or less things are settling down even on that front, hopefully, like even I understand the restaurants are opening by tomorrow, so which is a good sign. These are all signs, small signs. But I think people have handled it well, especially you heading Schindler during the pandemic situation. I was in touch when I was on the board. That point of time, I could see the team was there. they were accepting the way it was being handled, even if it meant a few things which some people don't like. But you can never make everybody happy, right? So that's the whole thing. So you should not get worried about it, but at the same time, take care that everyone has a fair chance. So having said this, Ashok, wish you all the best, and set a target for yourself that within next 2 to 3 years, the Schindler Trophy should come back to Schindler India. It will be, it would be a great moment of celebration.
Absolutely.
And for me, it will be a moment of pride. Having said that, giving the mantle to you 2 years ago, so that was good. Thank you, Ashok, for spending some time with me, and I look forward for more such occasions.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.